Hello and welcome to the Being and Becoming podcast. Together, we're being honest in conversations about thoughts we're having and books we're reading, and the hopes of becoming better, more able versions of our current selves. My name is Logan Howard. Today, I'm joined by my co-host Patrick Dyer, and Pat, it's so good to have you back on, man.
Excellent to be here as always.
Awesome. And listener, I think you should note that we are missing one of the three amigos. One of the co-hosts isn't with us because he's on to bigger and better things, and he hasn't left the show or anything, but he has left the state of Ohio. Him and his wife Julie. Austin's the third co-host. If you're new to the program, I guess I should back up and specify that. But so Austin is our third host, and he is off on an adventure with his wife hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. So we miss him, but
Dearly.
I'm glad we can still. It is a little easier to work with two people scheduling versus three is feels impossible. But Austin, we miss you. We love you. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, I guess we're gonna keep going and fight the good fight.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, Pat, we've kind of covered what's going on with Austin. What's going on with you lately? How have you been?
Been okay, just still doing the same old, working, trying to figure out going back to school, figuring out a move to a new apartment, all these new things.
A lot of challenges, right?
A lot of challenges.
The curveballs of life, the continuing education, housing. I mean, a lot of big decisions, but I know if I know one thing about you, it's you have the wisdom and the capacity to manage those things. So
I sure hope so.
are you leaning towards any certain programs with schooling, and have you made any done any formal applications or anything yet?
No formal applications yet. I still have a little ways to go on that. So definitely trying to figure out between nurse practitioner or a CRNA, which is a nurse anesthetist. So a couple certifications I need to get first, and then a lot of shadowing hours for the two to really figure out which direction I want to go. And then at that point, I'd like to start dumping applications everywhere because it's going to be hard to get accepted anywhere, really. So.
And how long does that normally take to hear back? Because I feel like that's a couple months process or something.
I actually have no idea, unfortunately. I'd assume if they really want you, probably pretty quick, maybe a couple weeks or something. But yeah, it may take a while. I actually don't really know, honestly.
Yeah. And then I think maybe the easier one of those two, but just as daunting as finding housing. Rent prices are ridiculous. Obviously, we live in two different locations. So for the listener, if you're new or if you've forgotten, I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Pat here lives in Tyler, Texas. And even Indiana is a state where housing's relatively affordable. Especially we bought our house, so our mortgage is manageable and nothing crazy. But the renting prices just keep going through the roof. And I went before my wife Peyton and I got married. I felt like I had to change apartments every year because they would drastically increase the rent. It wasn't just $50 or $100. It was $300 to $500 from one lease to the next. And so I would say, yep, see ya. I'll just pay whatever $100 to $300 less to move, get the U-Haul and move myself and save a couple $100, but alas.
Gosh. What is average rent for a one bed, one bath apartment over there?
I haven't looked in a while. When I lived with a roommate, so we had 2-bedroom, 1 bath, I think. And then my next apartment was 2-bed, 2-bath, but it was still it was $950, I think.
Oh, dang.
Is it a lot more steep over there?
Way steeper, man.
Jeez.
So our 2-bed, 2-baths average $1,450 to $1,800.
Okay.
And then 1-bed, 1-bath, depending on where you're at, would be $900 to $1,350 ish.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so stupid.
So because they're higher now. That was 4 years ago,
Yeah, I bet they're
that
way higher
pricing.
now.
So
Yeah.
they're probably way higher. But I mean, even that felt ridiculous to me at the time. I'm like, I don't own this place, right? I'm just
Yeah.
renting. My college housing was so affordable. It was around, I think it was like $400 maybe a month, or no, it was less than that. What did we do? It was like 200 a month, but then when I paid $400 for the summer for all of it for like 3 months in the
Oh
summer.
man.
It was like $400 for 3 months, so it was like 150, 175 like per month in the summer. So it's like a little bit discounted, but
How glorious.
I know. And then I went from that to 950 or whatever for a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And I was like, this feels like highway robbery. But
Literally.
so the college dorms, Pat, I don't know. I don't believe you didn't live in the dorms, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. Because those were a terrible, like price wise. Like I think I paid like $600 a month to
Mm.
live in a dorm, which maybe that's like a 20 by 20 room, like 400 square feet. Maybe it's smaller than that even. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, it's like a small room. You live in there with one other person and you're each paying $600 a month. So that's what it
Oh,
was when I was going to college 2014 through 2016 or whatever when I was in the dorms. But so it's probably
what
more
a
than that now. But
what a scam.
I know it's
Yeah, because that was 10 years ago. So it's
yeah.
definitely more
Oh
now.
my gosh. Oh wow. 10 years has flown by,
Yeah,
but
dude, it sucks.
yeah, so I have to put this in real quick because I've had quite a few CCS guests on lately. And for the listeners, Cincinnati Christian Schools, where Patrick and I and Austin, our other co-host, went to high school. I've been having on quite a few alumni from CCS, and we are at the 10-year mark of our high
Oh
school
yeah,
graduation this
wow.
year.
We are. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so we've been talking about that and wondering, oh, will there be a high school reunion? It doesn't seem like it. I'm not even sure if I would go because I'm in Fort Wayne, but I mean, I would be down to get the guys back together and do
Oh heck yeah.
something.
Heck yeah.
We're overdue, but
Yeah, absolutely are. Dang. Yeah, that'd be hype. That'd be hype. Get the crew.
yeah. 10 years
Oh
ago, we
man.
took an epic quest down to Fort Myers Beach, Pat. Or no, wait, it wasn't Fort Myers.
Virginia
Virginia
Beach.
Beach. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but yeah, it's a lot of good times and a lot of great memories for sure.
absolutely. Yeah, I remember so many things from that trip so well. Oh my
Maybe too many
gosh.
things.
Gosh. Yeah, that was fun. That
What
was
were
fun.
a couple of your highlights from that trip?
Oh man, where do I begin? One of them that was just so funny that pops to my head was our bus ride back to Cincinnati. And we took a stop at like a rest stop, and you see like everyone exiting the bus, and then all the boys beeline it to like where the vending machines are in like a little room, and we just start pounding on them, making a beat. We're just being loud, just going crazy for like 5 straight minutes. That was the best.
I remember that. Yeah, because it was like almost like a travel center
Yeah, it
off the
was. Yeah,
highway. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And so the vending machine was in its own little enclave or what it like
yeah.
its own little place outside. Yeah, that was fun.
Dang it, I loved that. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. It was just so funny because no one said anything. We all just went, and it just happened.
That's we were all so in sync together by
Yeah,
like our friend group, just I really missed that. Uh and no one thought it was weird, or like we're just like, yep, okay, and then like we all just feel it out, okay, it's over, and then we like go back on the
yep.
bus. And it's
That
funny
easy.
because the trip itself was awesome, but then the bus ride to and from were almost just as memorable, if not more memorable, which
Yeah,
speaks a lot of the company we were with, or the character of the friends that we had, because normally, what was it, a 10-hour ride or something like that?
something like that. Yeah.
Normally that's a trip that you're not looking forward to or whining or griping about, but we had probably some of the most fun on that. Then like that was probably the most fun ride I've had to and from a vacation with it. It's not even close as far as like transportation goes. As you know, like normally that's like you're like, oh, I just want to get there. But that whole ride was just enjoying every minute together. And I think people were sleeping on the ground and under seats and like,
Yep.
and we might have had one friend that got in the overhead compartments and yeah, so uh good times. But anyhow, getting out of reminisce land for a second. Yeah, so you said you kind of have a lot going on at the moment, professionally and just socially, family wise, getting the apartment situation set up. So what are you kind of doing to like for fun or de-stressing or thinking, reading? Like what are you kind of doing in that vein to kind of help maybe not even counteract the busyness of those things or the weight of those things, but to just give yourself life?
That's a great question, and I need some new suggestions. I would love to try something new. But what I currently do, still exercise a lot. So go to the gym 4 times a week. Um, get after it with doing that. Actually really enjoy studying. So I kind of study for fun, depending on the topic. Not hours upon hours, but I'll dedicate a certain block of time every now and then to really focus on a topic and learn it. So I've been doing that for quite a while, and that's really fun. And then, oh, it's fun. I've been Allison and I and my brother Ian, we all play the same games on the Nintendo Switch. So it's fun. We've been getting competitive with those and kind of just playing with each other. And so that's been great. Oh, and then the final thing is probably my parents live 40 minutes east in a town called Longview, Texas, and then they have 3 German Shepherds, and so I love to go over there, hang out with them, play with the dogs, and that's been great.
Yeah, there's something about either petting a dog or playing with a dog that's very uh like relieves stress, at least for me.
Mm,
So um yeah, that's awesome that you're able to get out and do that. And even the having that little community, like you're saying, playing the games with Allison and Ian, like that, it's good to be able to do things, with other people and kind of, still have some fun, some things in common. Because unfortunately, over here in Fort Wayne, that's I'm still trying to recover from my ACL surgery. I
yeah.
actually I had a little bit of a setback.
Oh no.
We'll see if my physical therapist is listening to this one.
Yeah.
But so I was bugging her because I wanted to get back on rollerblades. And she was like, okay, like you probably shouldn't do that. Just bring them in and see how you do. So I'm like, okay. So I bring my rollerblades into the physical therapy office and I'm kind of going back and forth just in like a small area, but I'm feeling amazing. I'm like, oh, I just want to like get back to skating and playing hockey. And she's like nervous, kind of watching me because I'm like, probably shouldn't be doing this yet, was my like conclusion by looking at her face and whatnot. And she was a little nervous. So I'm feeling great. I'm doing that. She's like, oh, your ankle's falling in. Oh, whatever, your leg's not straight. And so I'm like, okay, maybe. But I had been doing exercises, so I kind of fatigued my leg and then was doing that after. So I thought, okay, maybe the next day I can try it again. And, my leg will have recovered a little bit and be a little stronger. And she was like, yeah, just you can do like 5 minutes a day. Don't go crazy on a flat surface. Like my road's the flattest surface in the area where I live. So I was just kind of skating on the road, came back in. My knee immediately felt like something was like off or yes. So
Oh
it's
no.
not painful, but it feels, I was explaining it to a coworker today, who I was kind of talking about this with, and I said that it almost feels like either my bone or my muscles out of place.
Whoa.
Weird, like, but most of the time it's fine. It's just sometimes it just feels odd or whatnot. But I'm also wondering maybe it would do that regardless. I don't know, but so it's not an official setback, but I'm going again in June because I go like once a month. So I'm gonna have to pick her brain on that to see. Um, see if I did anything dumb or if maybe it's fine and I actually need to work it more. And I just have no way to gauge this. I just know when it doesn't feel right or feels
Yeah.
weird.
And was it any like sharp shooting pains or anything, or just literally just felt off?
No pain, no any. I mean, I was like, when I was on my own doing it, I could feel my ankle kind of falling in or my leg not being straight, but I try to correct it. Maybe I overcorrected it, and just was skating weird or wrong. Um, yeah, I don't really know. I just know like I came in, it was sore from the night before from the physical therapy and maybe the rollerblading ride. It was, but it wasn't bad. It was just a normal like kind of workout kind of sore thing. But then the
Yeah.
next day when I did the rollerblading, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that again for a while. It does not feel right. And so I
Mm.
took like a couple days off from running or doing anything like that. But I don't know. I figured you have the right expertise for me to be bringing this up with. So
Because you've been getting to the gym once a week, right? For a
I
little while.
still am. I still am. I've been doing it every week this year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, it's good that I've
That's a
been.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great accomplishment. That's good. Have you been able to isolate and really work those quad muscles, hamstrings, calves, glutes, all on that leg, everything?
Well, she is my physical therapist, Janet. Shout out Janet if she's listening. Is very good at giving me exercises to work those things. I think I am not always consistent as of the last month or two of doing, because in my mind, I feel like I should be better, almost done, and I think I get a little frustrated sometimes because I'll run on the treadmill, maybe do a couple other like stretching kind of things. I'll do leg press, um, but I just want my leg to be normal again. I just want to play
Mm.
sports and do that sort of thing. So I think I'm losing patience a little bit. But she was telling me in our last appointment that it's normally in like the 8 to 10 month range where the knee starts feeling normal, and so I'm still 2 to 4 months out from that. Um,
Yeah, that's what I hear as well, actually, in terms of timing.
but get this, Pat. So the surgeon that performed the operation, he said to me in a what like an appointment before the surgery, he had said that I would be feeling better and be able to play hockey in 4 months, like after the
Whoa,
surgery.
dang.
So I had this expectation that, oh, this would be done. I should be back to normal in 4 months. And then in physical therapy, they're like, I've like never seen that done before. And so I'm like, I don't know if he was just trying to hype me up to make me think like, oh, it'll be better quick. But now it's kind of let me down because I'm still obviously dealing with this, and it gets marginally better maybe every month or so. I can tell like, oh, I can do a little bit more, but it didn't align with the expectation that he had set with me, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. So what are some examples of the exercises you're doing when you do go to the gym, other than leg press? I know you mentioned leg press, but
Yeah, I think we can talk more about it off the pod because I don't know the names of things.
okay, yeah, that's cool. That's
And
cool.
we might be getting too into the weeds about it, but I don't think I like did anything bad. It just feels kind of odd, and I'm never sure if do I push harder or do I let off? Because now I've let off. Like I still have gone to the gym since, but I didn't go as hard as what I normally would do, and so now I'm like, should I keep going hard? Which I think I should just keep my routine and just see how it feels, but it's just tough figuring this stuff out when you're not in the field and don't have a ton of interest in medical stuff outside of obviously I want to get better, but I don't want to learn a million things in order to get better.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough. But anyhow, so outside of that, still working on that obviously, but I've been picking up the guitar a little bit more
Good.
lately. I actually have one out right now, just kind of sitting looking at me, and I've been getting a little more inspired to write both stories and music. So I think that's been good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like in the last couple years, I felt like I didn't have anything worth writing or sharing. But a couple months ago, I had Jordan Harris on the podcast, and he kind of got me fired up. And then we're at a new church, which I don't remember if I've told you about.
Mm-mm.
So we started a new church in January, and yeah, just it's been really good and refreshing to be at this place, and um trying to get connected still and all that. But it feels like it's like kind of awakening that rhythm in you that you know you need this in your life, but you haven't been doing it, and it feels really
Yeah.
good to be out there trying. Um, but yeah, so there's some good things going on and moving, but I think I'm still trying to be patient with the knee. And then obviously it's no surprise or whatnot, or it's no new news, but we have a baby on the way. So um just excited about that and trying to get stuff ready for when she comes.
Heck yeah. It's gonna be
Yeah.
busy. Busy, 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 busy.
I,
It'll be fun
yes,
though.
sir.
It'll be good.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. But
Is
um
Fort Wayne known for anything? Do they have like a catch?
that's a good question. It's a good, so I would say this would be my pitch to the listener, to whoever, about Fort Wayne, is that it's a big small town. So it's small in the sense that a lot of people know each other through family or friends or whatever. It seems like there's a lot of like easy to know people, easy to navigate, easy to know where things are. But it's also big because it's the second biggest city in Indiana, and I
Hmm.
work downtown and like in the Skyline Plaza, and that building's very impressive, and the amenities and the restaurants and everything in the area are top notch. So yeah, it's like a big small town. I really love the city, and I love living here, and
That's good.
yeah, so that's huge, obviously. And I also like, I loved where we lived in Noblesville previously, or in the Indianapolis area, and love that as well. But I think Fort Wayne has a lot of interesting, fun, unique things, and my company is really great, like in the community. So I'm trying to get plugged in with different service opportunities, and we do a couple different events and whatnot. So it's been very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome, actually.
Yeah,
Can't
come
say the
on up.
same. I can't say the same about Tyler, unfortunately.
What's the latest in Texas, Pat?
Oh, it's trash. Everyone run. Get out. Don't come. Constant storms, constant tornadoes, constant this and that. But
Do you feel like you have to be vigilant for all the storms and craziness going on?
I do definitely. I know I'm the only one though. Because if you talk to any native Texan, they're all like, "Oh, what? It's just a bad storm." And then three blocks down, tons of people just died because a tornado ripped. Actually, speaking of, unironically, not even joking, this last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, 22 people died in one night in Texas from tornadoes,
Wow.
and it's not taken seriously at all, at all. It's a shame.
Yeah, it sounds pretty serious to not be taking seriously.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Lives get lost yearly here, and the number's high, but it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. At least you're taking the proper precautions and
Well, I
staying
try
safe.
to. I definitely try to, but if there's one ever literally on top of me, shoot. Depending on what I'm under, we'll see.
Yeah. And speaking of weather and having bad weather, you had mentioned books earlier too, which is a great thing to do when the weather's not so great. And you said that I think you said you're open to recommendations and
Yeah, hit
come
me with
to,
anything. Yep.
well, it's funny I led with books because I am actually thinking of you and music right now. And
Mm.
21 Pilots just released
Oh shoot. Oh
Clancy.
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It is very good.
Is it?
I had
No
not
way.
I had not really listened to the last couple albums, or if I did, it didn't super it wasn't super engaging to me, but this it's a very good album in and of itself, but then if you want to look into their lore and go down that rabbit hole, I think it's also satisfying to like a very crazy fan or just someone like me that's just likes music, and like it's still a compelling story even if you don't want to go all the way in depth.
Oh, wow. Okay, well that's actually really good to know because I was aware that they had this album come out, but similar to you, I hadn't I'd listened to a few of their songs from their latest albums, but I was just like, oh, this just isn't the same 21 Pilots. So I really didn't get into it. So I'll have to listen
And I
to
will
this new
say
stuff.
this one is still different, but there's enough similarity to where you're like, oh, I get Vessel blurry face. Like it's not
Vibes.
it's yeah, it's not like composition wise. Obviously, it more advanced or like or they're not advanced, but they're not in the same place that they were when they wrote obviously those albums. But so the
Mm.
production's really great and all that, but thematically the themes hit closer to home for me. For this one, there's a song in particular called "The Craving," and
Ooh.
I like there are two different versions. There was a single version and then one called Jenna's version, and I like Jenna's version a ton. Like, and they have these great music videos to go with this. I'd almost recommend that first. Watch them all on YouTube
Hmm.
because they have music videos for every song except the last song, which is the resolution of the conflict of this whole arc, this story. And the ending caught me so off guard. I haven't been able to talk about it with anyone yet, and I don't obviously want to ruin it because you haven't listened yet. But make sure uh, when you listen to the album, listen to it all the way through. And I guess I should ask, is that the way you prefer to listen to music anyhow?
If I'm into it, yeah, definitely.
Okay, because that's
Yeah.
even if I'm kind of not, I like to listen to albums, and I will listen to like songs, obviously, or individual songs. Um, it's kind of difficult not to just listen to individual songs or singles or whatever with streaming, but I do like to sit down and listen to the entire album. And this is a great album to do that with. Like, if go on a drive or something and just play it. It's perfect for that. And yeah, I think all the singles I liked off this last one, and yeah, every track is there's not a skippable track. And
Hmm.
Stevie's walking through my dog. I don't know. Say
Hi
hi,
there.
buddy. Say hi. Hi.
Hi. Give me a kiss.
He's wondering what I'm doing, probably. But hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Where's Patrick? Where's Patrick?
Me.
He's confused.
Aw,
Uh,
he'll love me.
I think he's actually hungry. Hungry.
Ooh, don't say the word.
I know. Well, I guess I was gonna ask if you had eaten, but I'm like, maybe there's a listener still out there, and they might not care about that.
I haven't yet. I haven't yet. That's coming up next. That'll happen immediately after this.
Yeah, right, as it should. And I guess I should say too, Pat, because obviously I was talking a lot about 21 Pilots and their album Clancy, which is a total odd name for a song, or sorry, an album, but the album's very good. And wasn't sure if you had any recommendations or like things you've been listening to lately that you'd want to talk about.
Oh, I think I brought this up to you in Austin 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Maybe it was a year ago. I can't, it doesn't matter because I can't remember, but um so it's really interesting. It's really funny how we all grew up loving music, having our own tastes, our own this, our own that. And then my mom's obviously very musical, and then so is my dad. My dad even was a professional jazz saxophonist for a while, which is awesome. And he's a boss at that. He actually played a concert just with some freaking awesome solos like this last winter or spring, I guess. But anyway, so as far as music recommendations go, there's this band that I never ever wanted to listen to because I didn't like what I heard. And then my younger sister Grace, who does not like hard rock or anything related to that, recommended me a couple of songs of theirs, and I was like, what the heck? If she's the one recommending these and all she listens to is R&B stuff, I was like, all right, let me check them out. So this band, and I know, I'm sure you've heard of them, of course, Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of songs of theirs I do not like, and it's mostly just lyric based. But there's probably like 10 songs of theirs that have made me cry
No
because
kidding.
they're so powerful. It's such an amazing combination of lyrics and then just music in general. And they have, whoever writes their songs has a really good understanding of spirituality in a way, and those are the parts that get me weak pretty much. So like there's a couple songs of theirs, and they're scattered out through all their albums. It's not like all these songs are in one album. It's like you have to hunt and find for them. But some of the concepts are really, they really write well about longing for their loved one, and when they're not there, how it makes them feel and what's going on. And if you can picture how God feels with his children, if you can put yourself in God in this song, it hits you hard, because that's probably how God feels a lot of the time when we turn our back on him, and he's just begging for us to come back and searching everywhere for us, even though obviously he knows where we are, but just all these things. And there's multiple songs like that that are just really, really good.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like the example you were giving sounds like a very specific example. Is there one song in particular you're thinking of?
There's a couple, actually. Let me pull up my phone real quick to see if I can find. So one of them doesn't exactly talk about what I was talking about, but I listened to it recently. It's called Dear God. That's a really good one. Let me see here. There's another, So Far Away.
I'll have to check these out too, because like you, Pat, I've heard of Avenged Sevenfold, and I've maybe heard a couple songs or singles or something like that, but it was never anything that really gripped me. But it's good to hear there are specific recommendations, or whatnot to check out, because I mean they could rock for sure, but
Yeah, they go
I
hard.
just I
Yeah.
just haven't been able to get drawn into it per
And
se.
they have a very soft one too called Warmness of the Soul. That one would be a good one to listen to as well. But there's just a lot of stuff like that, and I just find it fascinating how they're not a Christian band, obviously, but they have such, you can apply Christian themes and see where they really got some inspiration from.
I
And
was about to say,
they talk about their suffering but not wanting to cave to worldly pleasures a lot and all these things. So I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
makes you wonder what the motivation is if it's not
Exactly.
God,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep. I had the exact same thought. I really wonder.
Because someone like Marcus Aurelius, could see the trappings of gluttony or frivolity or debauchery, any all that kind of stuff, immorality. He could see all of those things and was not enticed by them, and could write in his journal or whatnot about how he was trying to reject those traps or those whatnot, which later became a book called Meditations, which I have on my shelf. I need to read still, but yeah, very fascinating guy, but was able to, without believing in, I think he was before the Christian God got accepted as the national religion in Rome, but my memory is not too great on Roman history, or as much as I'd like it to be. But I think it was before all of that, but he was still able to find reasons to reject those things that weren't God. And people can obviously still find motivation to do that. It's just, I think it's really interesting to talk about or think about, because obviously for us as Christians, you and I as Christians, it's very easy. It's, well, I want to serve God and love others, and love God and love others, and serve God well. And like some of that might entail not doing certain behaviors, not from a legalistic standpoint, but from a standpoint of I think it's difficult to do the things I value well if I'm also doing X, Y, and Z,
Mhm.
whatever those might be. But yeah, so no, thanks for sharing those. And um yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to some Avenged Sevenfold here, it sounds like.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give them a go. I can't believe I ever did, which is hilarious, but yeah.
Did you have anything else song wise or artist wise that you're digging right now?
Uh, well, let's see. Do I? I don't think I do, but let me just check Spotify real quick. Other than the usual, I think that's the only obscure one for me.
Oh, I sent you that very obscure band, you and Austin. And maybe the listener, if they're still there, would be interested in this as well. But it's oh gosh, I'm gonna say the name wrong, even if I do look it up on my phone here real quick. But I was just scrolling through Spotify one night, and I think occasionally it'll just bless you with random stuff. And I came across a band called Mdou Mokhtar, which is MDOU space MOCTAR, and they rock. It's kind of got this like almost like a Middle Eastern kind of sound, but the album's called Funeral for Justice. And
Whoa.
yeah, yeah, and I mean I can't pick out all the lyrics. Some of them or most of them are in another language, but it's a great kind of rockin' thing. Like it's almost like it reminds me of Greta a little bit, Greta Van Fleet, if people like that. And but it's kind of like a Middle Eastern or African, something, some kind of blend of another genre or probably a couple genres, but very fun. And then book wise, I just finished 1984, Pat.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh.
Had you read that before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so the first almost 200 pages I was really not interested in. The last 100 pages convinced me enough to where I'd want to recommend this book for someone else to
Dang.
read.
So it
Yeah,
really went spiraled pretty quick.
very very persuasive.
Wow.
Because he takes painstaking detail to kind of set up this world and the condition that the people live in this society. And then in the last 100 pages, I won't spoil it, but there's a lot more like conflict that arises to make it very interesting, and about how the state interacts with the citizens, especially when they commit crimes or perceived crimes or anything like that. And
Mm.
the totalitarian state, the brainwashing, all that sort of thing. And very sad, obviously, very terrible. Would like to stay away from a totalitarian state of any kind as much as possible. But yeah, it was a sobering read. It ended up being the first couple hundred pages, like I was saying, it was not for me personally. I know other people might feel differently. I did not quite understand why it was such a classic or why it was so gripping. And then the last 100 pages, I kind of couldn't keep it down. Like couldn't put the book down. So I was like, oh, yep, I get this.
That's good. I'm glad it captivated you like that. It sounds like it must have been a really, really good story as a whole. So actually let me ask this. Did in the could the final 100 pages be taken in isolation and be just as good, or did you need that 200-page setup?
That's a great question. I think you need some of it for sure. Like you need the characters' names and a little bit about the background, but I don't like you could skim the first 200 pages for sure. But then really read the last like 100. Like take twice as long to read the last 100 as you would the first 200 or
Wow.
so. Yeah. Um yeah, it is a I've not, based on the way it ended, I'll just say I've not read a book like that yet. And
Whoa.
I had read Animal Farm, which is also a George Orwell book, but I had not read a book like 1984. That was that was pretty, especially for him writing that in the late 40s, or I think it came out in 1949. So that, yeah, like to have written a book that compelling, and I'm reading it in 2024 and can still, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
glean something from it and be inspired, and
85 years later, pretty much.
yeah, yeah. And it's funny because it's set or it's 40 years after the book was set, which it was set in the future when it was written, right? So it's, yeah, kind of crazy, a little crazy, but yeah, definitely worth reading, I would say. And then I've just been, I mean, I've read 9 books already this year, which is pretty good for me. I'm normally like
Nice.
about a book per month, but I've been doing about averaging about 2 books a month right now. So that's been really good. The summer months, obviously, I'm a little slower because I like, I'm doing other yard work or chores and stuff like that. So I'm not dedicating as much time to reading, but still like to try to at night, to wind down, read a little bit. So
I was just about to ask when are you doing your reading mostly?
I can't do it in the morning, man. I've tried and I just can't. It makes me sleepy, or I start thinking of all the things I need to do. But at
Yeah.
night, I've made peace with my day. Because really, it's that. It's for me. It's I've made peace with what I needed to do today, and now I can focus on relaxing or investing my time in other things than just like try like a to-do list or like trying to get things done. I need to get out of that mindset if I want to read, I
Mm,
think. Do
that's a
you
good
do you
idea.
experience that at all? Like I
100%.
okay.
100%. I'm the same. If I'm not studying reading, I can't do it. If it's just leisure reading, it's got to be before bed. Yeah. Or nighttime rather, just sometime in the evening.
That's so odd because I don't know if I've met someone else like that. A lot of people, especially I think of my dad in particular, like to read first thing in the morning before they have to get to their to-do list. I like to read as the last thing I do before I go to bed after I've done all of my things that I feel like, because
Mm,
I this is maybe a philosophical point at large too that I subscribe to or whatnot, but I view myself largely in two different capacities where there's um like the creative side of me, and then there's like the task oriented side of me, and ideally I integrate those things perfectly, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you need to be very like task oriented, aware of time, how long it takes to do a specified thing, and then there are other times where I'm not concerned with time. I want to be creative, and I could play guitar for 4 hours and it would feel like 5 minutes. Whereas, if I get started on a project and I'm like, oh, I will be done in 4 hours. And then at hour 5, I'm like, this feels like I've been doing this all day, or like 20 hours. Cause, I don't know. But ideally those are integrated and I can balance them better. But I kind of switch my brain from one to the, I'm either in one mode or I'm in the other.
right. That's not a problem. That's a good thing.
Do you deal with that too, or not even deal with because that implies it's a problem? But do you experience that as well?
Shoot. Probably haven't really paid much attention though, truthfully. I definitely my creativity just in general has significantly fallen off in the last 5 to 6 years, noticeably slow, which is kind of interesting. But
Yeah, it's one of the sad truths I think about adulthood growing up. People use the term adulting, which I hate, but it kind of is that as well.
yeah, I think also maybe just I just don't do anything fun though. Like so,
Oh, I feel that on such a deep level. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I mean I do fun things. We all do fun things, but like not the usual fun that I had creativity inspired from per se back in the
Oh,
day. Back in the day.
man, because I believe that so you can do fun things and then you can be fun, or you can be having fun. I don't even know how to say it, but I'm right there with you because like you can do fun things and not being in a fun mood, and then it's an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But you could be doing the most mundane thing in the world, but if you're in a fun mood or with fun people or whatnot, it's going to be a good time, even if
Yeah.
the thing you're doing isn't. Yeah. Hmm. But anyhow, I just think part of that's just, I don't know if we've talked about it yet on this specific episode, but just like we're still in a relatively new place. We have one friend, one couple that was very nice to have us over for dinner
Oh, sweet.
like a month or two ago. So I hope to return the favor soon if we can, but and have them over. But outside of that, it's been like that one kind of get together. We haven't had any social interaction together in since we've lived here, and even in like I don't want to make it seem like, oh, we had that in Indy and we left it, because it was like we didn't really have it there either. But it's just kind of, it's been very lonely, I think, since COVID.
That's
And
the word.
Hannah
That is the key word.
Hannah Snyder was on last week, and she felt the same way. Or I shouldn't say she felt the same way, but in talking with her, it felt like she had experienced a similar thing. And yeah, I don't know if there's been a ton of talk about that yet, but it's weird because it feels like everybody kind of feels alone that I talk to,
Hmm.
but we're also not like, we're getting all of our social activity on this, and like I'm guilty of that too, but which is so weird because me 10 years ago would be so outraged and disappointed if the me from 2014 knew that I got all of my social interaction through the internet. Like I think that person would like have a heart attack, or something. But
Right.
it's just, I mean, it's the way things have gone, and I don't necessarily love that. I would love to try to make some friends and invest into them. Obviously, we're investing into each other right now, having this call, and like our friendship means a great deal to me. But we can't be in person in the same way, you can be with someone that lives in the same town as you. But
Right.
yeah, very odd.
Yeah. I think about that very frequently.
What are your thoughts specifically on that, Pat?
Well, definitely on the loneliness issue, just my desire is just to be with all of our hometown friends, really. And so, the desire is so strong that I don't even want to make new friends here, is the thing.
Mm,
So I've got some people at work that I work with that I would consider my friends. I've got their number, we'll text, share things, and that's fun. But it's just like, man, I just wish it just doesn't feel the same, I guess. I don't have a good way to word it,
it's
but
a difficult thing to articulate, and I feel the same way. Even what I had said a couple minutes ago is like probably not the exact way I feel, but it's the best way I can think of expressing the way I feel. So um,
yeah,
yeah, it's odd because it's weird when you like have such a meaningful group of friends, and we had it at such a young age. You just assume that you're going to
yeah,
continue doing, or I assumed that I would continue having relationships like that. And I did in college. Like I don't, like my college friends are absolutely awesome. And the ones there are some I still stay in contact with that are like very close, and value them a lot. And but you just kind of assume you're going to keep doing that. And I was able to do it in college, and then you get out of college, and I stuck with a good group that I had like been friends with. I made some friends in a hockey league that I went to every week, and developed some good friends there. But yeah, it's not the same, man.
yeah. It's not the same at all.
Yeah,
Something to figure out, something we should definitely bring up next time we're doing this.
I think for sure.
Could lead.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say it'd probably lead to, it's probably something we need to actively talk about, to really actively think about. It's probably too difficult alone to sort it all out.
Right. No, and I think like the very nature of it, it's not possible to do alone because it it involves other people. It's like,
Yeah, there you
and
go.
I've only just begun, I think, like started talking about it a little bit with, again, just like kind of guests I've been having on here recently. But yeah, there's something like profoundly missing in getting your social interaction through your device instead of through like a legitimate person. And
Mm.
And it's also like I value friendship so much, and to have legitimately no friend. I'm not being mean to myself or being exaggerating anything. I literally have no friends here. Friends in the sense of like,
In the
hey, what are you?
vicinity, yeah,
Yeah, like what
that
are
you
you
can go
doing
hang
this
out with.
weekend? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
that. Like
exactly.
because I have great coworkers. I have great
Yep,
like
same boat.
everything like that. But it's like I don't have someone that like I'm investing my life into, or like outside of my wife, obviously, and like her family's like really great at including me and loving me. But it's I would like to still have friends that I don't know. This is
Mhm.
getting like sad or like
It's
or
reality.
depressing. Yeah, because I
This isn't
also
just us. This is everybody.
I know I don't want to seem like I'm what like whining for like something, like I'm just trying to express myself authentically. And yeah, maybe this isn't the best medium for that, I don't know. But yeah, I think there is something like lacking in like like that part of you that does like we experienced very deep meaningful friendship in high school, and I mean and through life or whatever, and then 2020 happened with COVID, and it just changed all of that. And I'm not, yeah, I don't know. I think the sad truth is I'm not as optimistic as I used to be
Mm.
about, because like I always knew that the friendships I made with you, Austin, and our gang from high school, I always knew that they were very special, and that maybe I wouldn't find anything like that again. But I was always thinking like, oh, I got to keep trying. I will find blah blah blah, connect with so and so. And then now I'm just kind of at a point where like I don't have very much time to even invest in relationships, friendships, even if I wanted to. And um, what? Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's not that I don't view myself as lacking the ability. I view myself as lacking the capacity to maintain deep friendships, and that's a
That's
lie.
interesting.
I
That's
think that's a
interesting.
lie. I'm gonna call that out, but I also like want to be honest, and like that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. We definitely need to get Austin's thoughts on this too. I'd be very fascinated to hear his perspective.
Yeah, I wonder if we're all going through a similar thing.
Oh, 100%. I can almost guarantee it. Yeah. Because um, my dad at school, where he teaches, he said he'll have students come up to him all the time. And obviously, he doesn't tell me their names, but he just, long story short, this is a thing that everybody in our age bracket really, and above and below,
Well,
are
because think about
experiencing.
this too. Like, if you're starting school during COVID, there were so many weird restrictions and rules. Like, you had to be in your
Yeah.
dorm for certain whatever, and your first year experience could be so different than even a people a couple years older than you.
Right.
And like, it's just such a pivotal time to make friends in college. At least in my experience, was that freshman year, that first year. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to this. I think they're gonna, whoever they are, the scientists and social scientists and all those cats, will hopefully do a study on this someday to see how it affected people. Because I mean, there are young kids too that are going to kindergarten or whatever and are also having very different experiences than like pre-COVID, pre-internet kind of time. So
Right.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Mm. Definitely something for us to bring back up.
I was about to say, I don't think we need to spend much more time on this because it's not going to be something we can really deal with in one conversation. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good idea, Pat. I think we should maybe think of it more, talk through it more, and then keep bringing it up because everyone that I've talked to, at least so far, has kind of resonated with that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know, yeah. But needless to say, did you have any other thoughts or anything else you wanted to bring up?
Nothing comes to the top of my mind. Nothing comes to the top.
Sounds good, man. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. We've been talking for a bit, and I think it's been really fun to kind of get back to like hosting together. So hopefully we can
Yeah, absolutely.
keep meeting maybe monthly or something like that, and try to, I don't know, try to get the flames a kindling. So
Yes, yes, we can, and we will.
sounds great. Well, Pat, thank you again so much for your time. Audience member, I hope we haven't completely lost you, and hope that you had a good time as well. Until next time.